So recently, a coaching client came up and said, "Hey, I love all the stuff you're doing, Joe. It's great out there. It makes sense. I've already hired a team. I already have people on my team, but I'm still doing all the work. And you may be in the spot as well." And so I had to smile a little bit and say, "Yes, you are. Of course you are, because there are other elements besides just hiring people to actually getting your business to scale properly." So that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. So if that interests you, keep on listening. I am Joe Sova. So thanks for being here. This is a Joe Sova business show where we talk business. We talk scaling your business the right way. And sometimes it goes against what you may have heard out there. And a lot of times, what we're talking about today in bringing people on board and building your team, the common thought out there is, hey, I just find somebody, right? I read their resume, I find somebody, and I'm off to the races. I bring them on board, I hand them some stuff, and there you go. It's done, right? Well, not so fast, my friends, as the great Lee Corso would say. So there's more elements to it, all right? And what you're about to learn in this episode is what we put together as part of our program. And there's three main elements. There is purpose, process, and people. All three of those things combined is what you need in order to successfully build your team and quickly and massively scale your business and reach those goals that you have as a driven entrepreneur. The fact that you're watching this, the fact that you're listening here today means that you have goals. It means that you have a drive inside you to do something with your business to make impact out there, because we all know that small business, entrepreneurship, online, offline, whatever it may be, brick and mortar, on the interwebs, wherever you're at, serving people. That's the element right there, is you're serving your customers. You're making a difference in their lives. You're making a difference in the lives of all those around you. And you have your goals, you have your drive, you have your vision, the revenue, the impact, everything that comes with running a business. Business like yours started right here and right here, in your head and in your heart, right? In your mind, you envisioned something and you felt it in your heart, in your soul, and it's bigger than you are, right? And our job as entrepreneurs is to take that vision, to take that feeling and create it, take that clay of the world and create it into something new, something that wasn't here before. That's what business is all about. You can't tell I'm excited about this. This is what I love talking about. And that's what we do here. So if you like that, keep listening and subscribe. But today, let me get back on track and dive into what it is about these elements of building a team. All right. And this is so important, because if you're missing some of these, then there's going to be huge gaps in your business and in your hiring procedures. Okay. And when you're building a team and you're scaling and there's all kinds of things happening, right? You've got sales, you've got operations, you've got fulfillment, you've got customer service, you've got all this stuff. The last thing you need is holes in the bucket, right? The water leaking out in different places. So you've got to have all three elements, or you're going to be in trouble, right? You can't scale your business quickly and massively like you need to reach all those people if you're missing one of these elements. So when you put these together, your business will have success. And that's exciting, isn't it? So let's dive in to what that is, because you may be doing some of the things, you may be missing some of these elements, right, in your business. Maybe you have somebody on board, or maybe you're thinking about it. Maybe you have more than somebody. Maybe you have 10 people. Maybe you have 20 people, right? And whether those are overseas VAs, 1099 contractors, or actual W-2 employees in your business, there's a couple places that you may be getting stuck and causing problems for you. All right. So let's dive into what these are. I'm going to start in reverse of what our normal operations is. So we say purpose, process, and people. Okay. And we're going to start with people because that's the simplest form of things. Obviously, this is where most people start, actually. And it's in reality the last step of what you need to do. Okay. So a lot of people jump ahead, and again, they get the resume and they hire somebody and they're off to the races. Okay, that might work. It might not, right? It's kind of a roll of the dice at best when you don't have the other two elements. Because when you're missing purpose, who you're bringing on board your team, these people may or may not be aligned with your vision. They may or may not be aligned with what you see as the future and what the job entails, right? What is necessary, what you would consider successful for that job that you're hiring them for within your business. Okay, so when you're missing purpose, that's a huge problem. When you're missing process, right, now you bring somebody on board and basically you're kind of here you go, right? Have at it. I want you to do. I want you to be customer service, and they don't know what to do, right? There's no basically you're lost, right? And they are lost because you have no process in place, you have no systems in place, you don't have no continuity in place. This new hire comes on board and it might be like, what is this, right? Like, what am I supposed to do? How do I know what to do? And they're just kind of a raft in the middle of the ocean, just floating out there. And one day they do something and the next day they do something else. So those other elements are so vital in addition to people. Okay, obviously the people part of this of these elements is key as well, because I go back to alignment, right? You've got to have those people in the right people in the right roles at the right time. And what that means is, let's say hypothetically, all right, some of you out there may relate to being a frugal business owner. Okay, believe me, yeah, there's people out there that pinch pennies and they watch every single dime they spend in their business. It makes sense at times, right? Especially if you're newer or if you don't have a lot of revenue or whatever. Okay. And another episode for another day. There's a difference between being prudent with your money and honoring what it is and being frugal, right? And cheap, basically. But for the purposes of this example, let's look at it that you are a business owner that is frugal. Okay. And you don't like to spend on frills and things like that, right? You're going basics. Believe me, I was there for a long time in my business. I used to, the only pens in our, this is hilarious. You'll find this funny. The only pens that were in the office, the company I started 11 years ago, were like the free pens you get at the bank counter or, at the doctor's office or something like that, right? Like or at the trade shows, right? People would pass out the pens at the booths. That was it. I wouldn't even spend like $5 on a box of pens because I could get it for free elsewhere, right? So things like that, right? So let's pretend for a second that you're in those shoes and you're a frugal business owner. You find somebody to fill a role in your business and you hire them, and you don't use our process element or our purpose element of what we design in our program. So you just bring them on as a person who has skill that you're looking for. Great, right? Sounds good. They have the skill, makes sense. But what happens when their values don't align to your purpose? All right, this is all part of the purpose element that we discuss in our program. When those don't align, maybe this person is on the luxury mindset, right? Maybe they buy Louis Vuitton stuff and stay at 5-star hotels, and they're buying the pens that are like gold plated, these $100 pens that you can find wherever, right? Misalignment there. Clearly, this person might have the skill set, but there's going to be a lot of friction there when the frugal owner, frugal entrepreneur comes up against this person's values that they just hired. Okay. And that's a big picture example. This can come even at a micro level, right? On little things of expectations of how things should be done, timelines of projects, whatever role you hire this person in, it's critical that you're on the same page. Okay. So the people portion of hiring somebody is the last element, because you need these other pieces first. Okay. So that's important there on the people. And we can go further into that as well. But for purposes of this episode, we're going to keep it there. Now, let's reverse a little bit. I touched on this, but that second element, that middle element, is process. All right. So process is getting repeatable outcomes over and over again. And those can be any outcome, on the sales side, on the accounting side, wherever, right? On invoicing, billing, collecting, whatever it may be, right? Those processes are so vital and so important into what we do every single day. Because if you're reinventing the wheel, that's the old saying, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's look at that for a second. If you're driving your car and you have to reinvent your wheel, not even reinvent, let's say you have to put the tires on every single day. Why don't you just leave the tires on and it repeats itself over and over again? Am I right? So process is a matter of getting those repeated outcomes. And there's different ways to do that. There's software out there. There's, we talk in our program about DEA, that's delegate, eliminate, and automate things. So there's different ways to delegate properly, eliminate things that no longer serve you, and automate, right, through softwares and things like that. So that process portion is critical as well. And you put that in place before you hire anybody, because when they come on, again, it just flows through the cycle. When they come on board, then they have a process to follow. It's magic, right? And frankly, it makes you look like a better place to work, right? When somebody comes on board, they don't want to work for the fly-by-night company that may or may not be around in 3 months, right? They want to work for someone that's stable, that has their stuff together, for lack of a better term. When you have a process element in place, you got your stuff together, all right? Okay, the first element is purpose, and this is a huge one. And listen, the other two elements, people and process, are so critical, and they're so important. So I'm not diminishing those by any means, but I will say this: you can find that information. Maybe it's not as good as what I have. I like to think we have the best information possible out there on that, but you can find a lot of information. There's been books written, right? I've got some of them, right? There's been books written. There's been seminars done. There's all kinds of stuff about automating systems, about implementing processes, and about hiring people. Okay. Those resources are readily available like anything out there. Okay. There's two things with this. Number one, typically entrepreneurs are so busy, they don't have the time to look through those resources. All right. That's where we come in and we guide you through it step by step and go through our process. And we have our own ways of doing things that aren't identical to those other resources out there. And again, I feel that it's the best way to do it from my 20 years of experience in the entrepreneurship world. But there's a key element missing that the other gurus, or whoever you want to say, the other teachers out there of this stuff, miss completely. I haven't seen it anywhere else. We covered it in our program because I learned firsthand. I tried the other things without this element, and it doesn't work. And that is purpose. And I'm going to slow down here because this is vital to understand, is that when you have a purpose in your business, everything else comes together. Your processes make sense, your people are aligned, and everybody's rowing the boat in the same way. And purpose is bigger than simply writing down the purpose of my business is blah, 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 right? We all know Simon Sinek and his book, Find Your Why, right? And he's built an entire brand off of that, and it's fantastic. Okay. I love his stuff too. He's great. I recommend it, but there's more to it. The way we develop our element of purpose. Okay. There's things like vision and your mission, the identity you have within your business. And there's things like roles within your company, right? Like, why is this here versus here? And you've got to look at those different elements of your purpose. I do want to touch on this even more so. I might not get to all of it in this episode, but ultimately it comes down to your purpose isn't necessarily the why you're doing it. That's part of your purpose in your business, but it really comes down to who you're being in your business. So Simon Sinek says why, Joe Sova says, who are you being? Okay. So what are you doing within your business? Are you focusing on the revenue generating activity that you need to? Are you focusing on the things that are going to move the needle in your business with your special gifts and talents versus focusing on the little day-to-day projects, right? Do you have the trust in yourself, number one, and in your team? Number two, are you able to let go of some things, right? Those are all elements that are bigger than simply hiring somebody, because let's face it, you could hire somebody tomorrow, and if you don't trust them, if you don't allow yourself to trust them, you're not going to give them any project of substance. They're going to be nothing more than data entry at best. I was here once. So I speak from experience on this. This isn't theory. When I started my business 11 years ago, I hired a part-time person. It was maybe 6 to 12 months into the business. And I brought them on to do actual work, right? To do things like service customers and help out. And basically all I would let them do is answer the phone. That was it. If there was a question from a customer, it had to come to me, right? They would say, "Oh, hold please." They'd come to me, ask me the question. I would give them the answer and they would relay the answer. Or if there was a question, even offline, right? Somebody emails in and there's a question, better run that through me. Why would I do that? Because I didn't have the trust to let go. And that's all part of the purpose element that we discuss within our program. And it's a huge part of what you're doing in your business. Because if you already have a team and it's not working, fully consider why it's not working. Where is that disconnect at? And 9 times out of 10, you're going to find there's a trust issue there. And that's either with yourself from letting go, or you don't trust them to do the job, which is a whole nother conversation, right? That you've got to get somebody in there that you do trust. Another story I'll share. I had an employee, when you think you've got to have just a warm body, right? You don't trust them to do the job. I had somebody like this. This was after the first person I wouldn't let do anything. Had a different employee at a time, and this person was there, but they weren't there. Okay. And I want to say we had about 3 employees at the time. And this person was scared to death to get rid of them. They weren't doing their job. Okay. They weren't contributing to the team. On the surface, it kind of looked like that. You know, they would answer some emails and answer the phone, things like that. But ultimately, they weren't productive at all in what they were hired to do. However, I was scared to death to get rid of them, to end the relationship and to fire, for lack of a better term, because I thought we just had to have a person there, right? It didn't matter what they did or did anything. We just had to have somebody. We would be overwhelmed without them. Turns out, all right, eventually like Milton in Office Space, the situation resolved itself. Not exactly like that. I was paying the person, but anyway, it resolved itself, or the person decided not to show up ever again one time. Okay. And lo and behold, the team actually was more productive without this person. Why is that? Because this person wasn't doing anything, right? So I wasn't trusting that person in my own instinct that they could do anything, but I was scared to let them go. And that was a mindset issue. So ultimately, it comes down to trust in who you have on your team, trust in yourself to let go, and that everything's going to be okay, and a lot more into that purpose element. Okay, so the 3 elements combined, we've got purpose, process, and people. When you put those things together and you dive deep into that, that's when you find out that you can quickly and massively scale your business, and it's amazing. And you'll be surprised and shocked at how fast your business can grow after you put those things in place in your business. Now, if you want more information on that, subscribe. Obviously, we want to do that, but we have free bonuses for you. So check out the links. Okay. Always subscribe, because we have new episodes coming out regularly, and you're going to love it. So there's more information always coming. And I thought this would be a fun one to share to help you and your business as you grow. Even if you have a staff, you may or may not have elements missing. And when you put those elements in place, that's when the magic happens. So as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Subscribe if you haven't already, and check out the free bonuses, because we've got a ton of free stuff. Check out joesilvatraining.com, and appreciate you being here. Thank you very much.